Hi everyone, this is audap. Let's recover Arcade Archives, IKARI III the Rescue. I didn't realize I didn't have audio yesterday. When the when the area gets too oversaturated, then sometimes my audio drops, and I don't realize it because it sounds fine to me. But then later on, when I review the footage, it turns out that I don't actually have audio. So unfortunately, there's no way for me to dub that audio in. I don't record these things separately. But let's go through what the Arcade Archives version of IKARI III is like. Of course, you can also get this game in the S&K Anniversary collection as well. And there you also get the bonus of being able to play the NES version. But this is just the arcade version, so let's take a quick look. So IKARI III, unlike the previous games in the series, this game is now a beat-em-up. Which, you know, it makes me sound like I'm ancient by calling some game a beat-em-up. Sounds like something that your grandpa would say. You know, oh, what are you doing in this game? Oh, you go around, you beat 'em up, huh? Well, that looks like a very violent game. Some people refer to these as belt fighters, right? Because the screen is scrolling like it's on a belt, a conveyor belt. I don't like that term either, because that sounds even stupider than than beat 'em up. So we'll stay with beat 'em up. Anyway, I've changed the display to yes. Now, personally, I don't. Well, they have been tricked by our false information. Let's start our rescue. Now, because this game is so drastically different, you still have the 8-way control, so a dual stick control before there was dual sticks, but now it's applied in a fighting game. You see the characters are like really big and detailed, but the camera is super tight, right, so you don't get to see a lot around you. Unlike the original IKARI Warriors, IKARI Warriors 1 and 2, Victory Road, IKARI Warriors. Those, you could see quite a bit because the characters are so small. And again, this used that control scheme that S&K made famous with their arcade cabinets, where it had a single joystick, and the joystick was octagon shaped. And you could literally spin the joystick, with your left hand. You'd spin it around, and then that would rotate your character around. I don't know, it was kind of innovative. Lots and lots of S&K games used them. Everything from Heavy Barrel to IKARI Warriors to Midnight Resistance. They all use the same control scheme. And this game as well, depending on which arcade cabinet you played. So punches and kicks, you can jump. You have this sort of like back fist move, where you can drop or throw objects as well. I think I only played this game a small handful of times when it was released in the arcades back in the day. I didn't like the gameplay as much as the original IKARI Warriors. Changing it into a beat 'em up, I always felt that was the wrong decision. But for the time and the era, the shooter genre wasn't as popular as the fighting beat 'em up genre. So I can see from a business point of view why the game was changed. Let's take a look at the Japanese version real fast. The Japanese and the North American one are very, very similar. In fact, you really can't tell from the opening scenes what's different. They both control the same. And they have the same cinemas. I think some of the enemy colors are different later on in the levels, but you can see it basically looks the same. It's interesting that there's a a large generation of fans who associate the Ikari Wars with the King of the Fighters instead. Because obviously these kind of games really aren't made anymore. The traditional Ikari Wars style games, the shooter, overhead shooter game. Although dual stick games have gotten popular recently, so you never know. Maybe some development house will have the license. I don't know if Playmore still has the license or not. Possible. They still produce new King of Fighters games, and RALF is in there. Last I checked, I'm pretty sure their Ikari Wars is still in there. Now, the default control scheme is actually to use the L2 and R2 to turn your character, frame by frame. But you have the option of using your right stick to turn the character. Unfortunately, the default control scheme also sets the buttons as your action buttons, and so it's sort of tough to change a direction and then hit a face button, since normally your right thumb is being occupied with changing the direction of your character. So I've set up the controls to use the trigger buttons as my punch and kick, and the buttons are really just for the back fist and the jump button. Again, that's the Japanese version. Very, very similar to the North American release. The European release is the one that's probably more interesting, because in the European cabinets, it looks like they didn't feature the trademark S&K joystick. They were just regular joysticks. So by default on the European release, you don't have the ability to turn your character separately. You basically, the direction you face is the direction that you punch or kick. So very, very traditional. In a lot of ways, it's actually easier to control it this way, just by changing the direction that you face would be an action button. So the dual stick play is no longer available here. I think you could turn it on though if you wanted to in the Arcade Archives version. But normally you wouldn't have. Outside of that, it really is pretty much the same. See, it's sort of difficult game to control, and it's definitely a difficult game to play. It's nowhere near as friendly to play as the first two Ikari Wars games. Again, it was just the times. The beat 'em genre was much more popular, so it sort of made sense from SNK's point of view to take their franchise and put it into another genre that was more popular. I think most people, if they do remember this game, they probably remember the regular Nintendo version, the original NES version. I don't think this was all that popular in the arcades. At least I never saw a lot of people playing it in the heyday. So there you go. That was Arcade Archives, Ikari Warriors on Nintendo Switch. I'd say the emulation is very accurate. It does look and sound the way I remember seeing it in the arcades. Although again, I didn't play a whole bunch. And arcades are traditionally, not great venues for listening to sound, but it sounds the way I remember it. The gameplay is, I think it's an acquired taste. I personally am not that into it. But if you have fond memories of it, then this is a good way to play it. If you did not, for some reason, want to purchase the SNK Anniversary Collection, purchase this one separately all by itself if this is the only game that you want, or maybe you only wanted 2 games or 3 games from the anniversary collection. Although once you hit 4 games, you might as well just buy the collection, honestly. Because each of these games are like $8 a piece. So yeah, check it out if you like Ikari Warriors 3. It is a very accurate representation of the arcade game, on a modern system with modern controls. I can't recommend it myself, but if you already have fond memories, then check it out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next screen.